So what can we talk about? I think maybe the first thing to discuss is the new hot AI on the market, Ideogram. And when I was telling my mom about this, I guess I came to the thought that is it pronounced ideogram? Ideogram. Is it ideo or ideo? Either way, this new AI art generator is so good at text, at generating text, legible text, like complicated characters. You can get this thing to say anything, and people are just going off the deep end with it. The funniest people come up with the funniest puns, and they're able to create these crazy t shirt designs. And the thing that is so impressive is that this AI is able to make really, really high quality artistic designs. You tell it the text you want, and then you give it some guidance in terms of like a character and maybe a background and a style. And this thing can create some of the nicest, I'll just keep saying t shirt designs because that's probably the most evident piece of work on the website. And everything is public as well, right now at least. So that if there are some really successful prompts, you can just take the prompt and change what you want about it, as in just replace the text and maybe the character. And I think it has the chance to be the most disruptive piece of technology in the space because it is such high quality work. You can make a design in 30 seconds that would take a person like, I don't know, 4 or 5 days to make, maybe a little less, probably more though. And the biggest issue is that there are so many websites that cater to the print on demand crowd where, artists will upload their assets, these designs, and it's so instead of selling it yourself, you'll upload the design and let other people download the design so that they can then sell it in their store. And I don't see why the people downloading these things wouldn't just start making their own. I mean, why wouldn't they? How could you not when the quality is so good? Literally comparable to the best humans. I really believe that. I don't think there's a difference. I saw more quality designs on that front page, and this thing is only like 2.5 weeks old. I've seen more high quality designs on that front page to the point where it looks like a print on demand website. Like, yeah, it hurts my head. It really does. I guess I always foresaw AI tools being used to generate individual assets. So sure, you could get a picture of a cool looking character, and then maybe there would be an AI that could generate text, and then maybe you have some special backgrounds that you've created, and then you would have to piece them all together. That made sense. But now the AI this AI ideogram just makes it all for you. Like, does that even make sense what I'm saying? It just puts it all together into a package for you. And where is that going to leave society? It makes me kind of worried that, the idea of generative video and generative stories, all of that sounds exciting until you realize that maybe these new AIs aren't going to need your input as much as you think. Like maybe you'll just need to give the video generators the most basic of parameters and it will create these masterpieces for you rather than you telling it what about the video would be a masterpiece. And I think that is pretty worrying because that's where a lot of the fun comes out of art, is chipping away at the marble stone to unveil the statue underneath it. If the AI is able to just create the piece of art, like if the skill ceiling of art is lowered so much, or how do I put this? I think traditionally people appreciate high skill ceilings where the best of a certain field can really excel when there is a lot of potential, and to reach that potential is rather difficult. When you raise the skill floor and lower the skill ceiling, and everyone is basically creating the same quality of work, it really devalues the whole output. And I think you could argue against that. I think you could say, well, if each work produced is of high quality, then even though the bar is technically lowered in terms of potential, it's all relative because the quality will all be a certain, 8 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10. There will be no more 4 out of 10s. It's going to become hard to make bad art. And I think that's an okay argument, but if everything is an 8 out of 10, is anything really an 8 out of 10? And maybe in the future people won't care, but as long as there are people who lived before the internet and before AI, I think they will all see the downsides of generating such high quality output with so little input. It's tough to argue that it's a bad thing, but it feels wrong in some way. And I know we've talked a lot about AI art and stealing intellectual property and who owns the output, who owns the input. Ideogram can produce intellectual property at such a high rate. Like, it is clearly stealing from well-known sources and well-known IPs. And I don't see anyone really caring about that. I mean, it's just funny how the outrage will only target the biggest players. When a smaller company starts doing something, they'll only get pushback once they reach a certain level of popularity. And I guess that's just par for the course. Not enough people know about this new AI for the anger and the pitchforks to become louder. Or maybe this is the first sign that, the fight isn't going to be won. Like, maybe Midjourney is in a lawsuit and maybe people are coming at them. But the next company to do it, who's going to put a lawsuit against Ideogram? And then the next company after that, who's going to fight against them? I think the hope on the censorship side is that there will be some regulation eventually by law that says certain companies can't have models trained on intellectual property. But while we wait for that regulation to happen, like, what are we supposed to do with the AI that's available right now? Like, it's just, Ideogram is so mind-blowingly good. I just continue to see it being harder and harder to stop the progress. And I've said this before, if artists and actors and companies came out against AI in 2015, I really think they would have had a chance. But they let the AI get strong, they let it bulk up, and now they're saying, whoa, it's too strong, you gotta stop it. But that's the point, it's so strong. How are you gonna stop it? How can you stop an AI that can replicate your voice with less than a second of audio? Open source. The fight maybe could have been won, but we all waited too long. Hindsight is 2020, and maybe that's why I just don't think being outraged is worth it. Like, we missed our chance. It's already here. I think, at least. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. And I'd like to see humans come together and agree on the best course of action. But I guess the pessimistic side of me, which there isn't much pessimism in me, really thinks that, well, humans can't get together on a whole bunch of issues. People debate about climate change. How would people ever agree on AI? There's debate on nuclear energy and nuclear weapons. How could we ever agree on something in terms of regulating it? What I mean to say is we already have nuclear weapons. How are we just going to get rid of AI? And, maybe a good argument is, well, AI is fine. It just can't be trained on stuff without artist permission and thereby company's permission. But it's just not a good argument. I really don't think it is. Because the way the AI works is the way the human brain works. You train it on data and you ask it to learn what it can from that data. And then when you use certain keywords, you get the AI to extract the lessons it's learned. It doesn't have a database full of IP that it then on the fly pulls from. It's already learned the lessons. It's how the human brain works.